In this video, I'm going to show you how to tie together two sticks using a thin willow rod. And we're going to use a figure of eight technique to do that. So I'm going to cross my two sticks over with about 1 inch, 3 centimeters sticking up above the join. And I'm going to take the tip, the thin end of my weaver, and I'm going to lay that against the left hand stick so that I'm holding it really firmly in my left hand. And that's because you're going to have to actually pull quite tightly on it. So you really want to get a firm grip on that. I've got it in my left hand because I'm right-handed, but obviously if you want to weave with your left hand, then you can easily put the thin end on the right hand stick. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wind the weaver twice around the join of the two sticks. So I've got my thumb pressed quite firmly on the weaver on the front, and I'm going to take the weaver right round the back and right round the back again. I'm pulling quite hard as I do that. I'm then going to come, still holding onto the tip in my left hand, I'm going to bring the other end up through the triangular gap between the two sticks nearer to me and pulling it again quite firmly. And then the next step is to go over, and you can see that I'm incorporating the thin end into it, over the left hand stick, round the back of it, and again back up through that triangle in the middle, all the time pulling really firmly. Now obviously at this point the angle of the sticks is changing, so if you need a specific angle, which if you're making a star then you do, you're going to have to keep adjusting it to make it the angle you want. So at the very beginning it's very hard, you're struggling enough really trying to hold all of the bits together, so don't worry about it to begin with. But once you've done a few rounds, then hold this up against your template and just make sure that that angle is right before you go too much further and you can't change it. So it's just a really simple repetitive process. You are just going over and round the back of the right hand stick, back up through the middle, and then looping over and round the back of the left hand stick and up through the middle. So loop round the right hand stick, up through the middle, loop round the left hand stick, up through the middle. And just to show you why that's a figure of eight, if I turn it so you're looking into the knot, you can see that I'm literally drawing a figure of eight with one loop going around one stick and the other loop going around the other. So nearly at the end of my stick now, and obviously you may not get to the end of the stick, you may find it's too thick to bend as you get nearer the end. I'm just going to turn it back to the way I was doing it. So for the last movement, rather than coming round and up the middle there, I'm actually going to loosen it off slightly and come up through this gap instead. So I'm basically threading it through one row back into the weaving. So you may well need to make a very definite kink in it to do that. Thread it up through that hole, push it through, pull it through, and keep both pulling and pushing as well so that you slide that round and get it really tightly curved around this side, and also push the weaving up as well so it's nice and tight that way. So you can see that this thin end, I've kept the thin end alongside the stick, so that's really held underneath the weaving, and that can just get chopped off. And then this end here, that's not going anywhere now, so you can cut that actually quite close against the stick, and that's really held quite nice and firmly now.